Yeah, do we get to hear the other one? The for sale by owner?
Cool. All right, ring.
Hello?
Hey, I was calling about the house that was listed for sale by owner at 123 Main Street. Is this the owner?
This is.
Oh, awesome. Glad I got you. My name is Drew with Borough Realty Group. I was reaching out. I'm actually interested in purchasing that home. I was curious if you could tell me more about it. It looked like it needed quite a bit of work.
Sure. It needs a new roof for sure. And the last tenants that were in there totally trashed the carpet. So
That sounds awful. What made you, this is a great neighborhood. What made you want to list it for sale as opposed to just fixing it back up and renting it back out?
I don't have the money to put I don't want to put the money into this property. I'm tired of being a landlord.
No, I totally understand that. Well, hey, I actually have multiple options that may be helpful for you. One, I can help you renovate that property and get it listed, or I can give you a direct offer. What I'd love to do is come by tomorrow at like 2 o'clock if you're available, or I also have 4:30. Which one would be best?
I like that. 4:30 is best.
Look, I'm going to give you an offer tomorrow. You might not like it, but I can also give you what this property needs in work, and then I'll front the renovation and help you list it.
This is the Be More Show for agents, where you'll find real talk, and ambition. We're here to build real businesses and be more than your average agent. We want to know what killers are actually doing within their businesses, the reality of it, all tactical, no fluff. So we're here to find out. Please share and enjoy.
Dance party. Drew in the house. Okay. He's not as excited as us.
I'm not a very good dancer, so.
Well, that's okay because you make up it with the Johnny Bravo hair.
Yeah. The only thing that I'm good at dancing to is the wobble, so.
Oh, I would love to see that. Maybe at the Pillars Retreat this year.
Maybe.
But
you're coming to my wedding, so I'll probably do it there.
That's true. And I'll white girl dance too. I have no rhythm. Okay, Drew, we're going to talk about real estate-ish today. That's what we're here to talk about. But real quick, how I know you. This is actually before we started DMing. I remember I was on Instagram and I got this tag. 5 Pillars got tagged, and there was this kid, and I'd never met him before. And he was wearing an I House Hack t-shirt, one of like the 5 Pillars t-shirts that like this was back when we had our traditional team. Yeah, like super cool. I was like, oh my God, someone on the internet outside of our tiny little circle bought our apparel. I was like, oh my God.
You're an influencer.
Yeah, it was like, I started sweating immediately. I was like, oh my God. And then, we started DMing a little bit. And of course I had to pull you over to Pillars Life. But anyway, that's my little intro story. Allie, hit it with stats.
Yeah, with some stats. So you are a 24-year-old real estate agent and investor, and you've been full-time since 2019, and you've been killing it. Prior to you being an agent, you owned a tree service business and you climbed trees. So that's pretty cool. Not afraid of heights, I presume.
I was afraid of heights.
Oh,
and
so you're just bold.
Yeah, well, not terribly, but I was, I wanted to face that fear. And then also really, it's fun to be scared all the time, and but be able to make a lot of money. So
yeah. And then so you went to NC State. You sold 28 homes in your first year as a real estate agent, and that's with Borough Realty Group. And you're in Greensboro, North Carolina. You're part of the 5 Pillars community. You've done deals in almost every aspect of the residential real estate space, which is amazing. You wholesale, you fix and flip, you buy and hold, short-term rentals, literally mid-term rentals. What have you not done? You purchase land, which is awesome in representing clients. And you started your investment journey overall, starting with house hacking, a 4-bedroom single family house, which then led you to catching the investing bug. So true,
you're 24.
Like, investor agent. You're killing it. And you currently own 5 doors. 5 doors, 2 of them midterm, 2 short term, 1 long term. Dude, I am so excited to jump into this. But first, we're doing a show moment. So now that we've built you up, you got to hit us with a show moment related to real estate. What do you have?
Send it.
Well, yeah. So I have kind of 2. So Shelby sent us a gift to my future in-laws' home. And to get some background on them, they're very Baptist conservative folks.
Uh-oh.
We're and I walk in the house and I read, or her mom is standing there holding this little note from Shelby.
Oh no.
And she sent us a Roomba, and it says, robot vacuums are a gateway drug towards full robots running our lives, but they're also the we have one to enjoy from Shelby and Drake. So she's standing there and she's like, is this person coming to our wedding? Oh, that was so funny.
Oh my
no,
God.
but that's
not
that bad
for me. I'm like, that's not.
No, I'm actually currently living my show moment a little bit. I confirmed with Landon that I could share this. We have a deal right now on a duplex in downtown High Point, and we bought it. The renovation went way too long. That's not even the show part. Once we got it renovated and done, while we had it, our loan servicer, the loan got sold, and we had an issue with them inputting the wrong account information and email address. So we missed a payment, right? And it's like, oh, well, we started having to call in to make the payments. And then they messed up an account number when we were calling it in towards the end of the loan, right as we're trying to get a refinance now. And they won't give us a refinance because when they went to pull the verification of mortgage, it showed 3 late payments. So we're currently trying to figure out how to get fined $172,000 for a refinance on that duplex to be able to pay off this loan that's due in June. So, and to make matters worse, we almost had it closed, and I actually made a mistake on the lease agreement that was being signed, and so that also caused them to throw it out as well. So,
what was the mistake?
So the loan type they were getting required it to be a long-term rental, and we were doing Airbnb arbitrage to my fiance, and I put in there her name, and then all guests checked in through Airbnb, and they saw that and said, nope, sorry about it. Yeah.
Oh
So that's my show. It's just us totally botching on both ends on how to get this deal fully stabilized, but I've learned so much from this, so it's been fun. But yeah, that's my show
lining. Learn so much. But wait, with the short-term rental, I mean, like if it is short, you can just like cancel on your fiance, be like sorry, and like redo it now.
Yeah, that's what we did, and then when we went with another lender after I had botched the first one, that's when the verification of mortgage came up, and they saw the late payments, and they're like, yo, we can't lend to y'all if you can't pay the bills. But so now we're basically gonna figure out how to pay off the $125,000 loan in cash so that we can get another lender that won't pull a verification mortgage. So that's our show. Now we're coming up with that money to fix our mistake.
Okay, gotcha.
Keep us posted.
Yeah, keep us posted. And I guess if anyone's out there who has private money that they're willing to lend, I actually may talk to you offline after that. But okay, anyway, so we got a big piece of your background, which was awesome. I love hearing all the stats. But take us from you said 2019 was your first year as an agent. And if I am doing my math correctly, you were a child. You were 19 years old. So, right? So take us from agent life from when you started until now.
We love your DMs on Instagram, and as long as you don't sound like a bot or aren't sharing your overnight crypto success, hit us up on Instagram. Let's be friends. We're at The Shelby Show and at Allie the Agent.
Yeah, so from agent life. Okay, so well, let me take a step back right before what led up to agent. So I was doing my tree business, and I got to a point where I needed to decide. I had a couple employees. I needed to decide whether or not I was going to scale, and because I didn't want to be climbing trees every day, out there working in the heat, all that. And obviously, I was driving a lot because I lived in Staley, and I was driving to Greensboro for most of my business. So I was listening to BiggerPockets all the time on learning about investing. Allison was pushing me. That's my fiance, big time of like no matter what we do for our job, we need to be investing in real estate, and we're going to figure out how to get, our generation is going to be wealthy. We're going to create wealth. And so I was like eating all that up, listening to those Bigger Pockets. And I got to that point in that tree business, and I decided that the best thing for me to do would be to sell it and just go all in on real estate. And as an agent, to try it out, because I had, I knew a lot of people and thought I could do well with my SOI. So I actually financed the equipment for that company to an individual. So I had enough cash flow to sit tight and get my license, read all these books, and basically take 6 months off to get my real estate license. So then I started as an agent, and I didn't sell a single house for the first 6 months. It was terrible. I had like I had the confidence to get on the phone, and I was doing the numbers. I was making at least 200 calls a day, but I didn't have the confidence to go for the appointment and close the deal. So that's when I got connected with Landon and Drew Newbold. They were actually with the command team at Keller Williams when I first started with them. And as soon as I joined the team, I immediately started sticking those appointments and being confident enough to have them help me make sure I wasn't going to get sued. That was my biggest fear, was I was going to do something dumb and like somebody was going to sue me. Honestly, that was my like this 20-year-old kid's coming in here telling me he can sell my house, and so I did that, and then I ended up selling 28 homes that first 6 months with the team there, and that allowed me to be able to buy my first house hack that first year. And so that catapulted into that, and I got most of that business through circle prospecting and some door knocking and for sale by owners. So.
Nice. So even though you joined the team, you got your own leads still. You were the one that initiated those 28.
Yeah,
clients.
They more so helped with like making sure I was saying the right things, making sure I had all the stuff in order when I did, because I was super hungry. So I was just like, I'll call anybody if they have a pulse and see if I can get something rolling.
Yeah.
But how do I take it down and close the deal, really? So I was excited to do that.
How did you finance your first house hack? Like agents, maybe they're in their first year or so, and all the lenders are telling them they need 2 years tax returns to buy. So what did that look like for you?
Yeah, so I begged my father to co-sign on the loan. That's exactly what happened. I was like, look, that I'm busting my tail, and I've got all of this money saved up. I can put 20% down if I have to and get a hard money loan, but I would prefer to be able to do this low down payment loan and be able to get these renters in here really quickly. So that's how I financed it. I had the money to do the deal and the renovation, and he co-signed on that loan for a little bit of love on the back end when I sold it about a year later.
Using your resources.
Damn, nice.
Love it.
And
yep.
Did you also start the tree service company?
Did I start it? That was way before agent stuff. But yeah, I started it.
Right.
And I started. I had a Tahoe that I had in high school that I literally I would borrow people's trailers so I could do the tree
Did
work.
You see
That's how I got started.
I would borrow.
I definitely at one point did steal my grandfather's trailer when I didn't even ask him one time, but he probably still doesn't even know about that.
You created a business, you sold a business, you were the male version of Cody Sanchez. So that's legit.
Coining that.
Dude,
like,
so okay, let's
yeah, I was waiting for the follow-up question.
All right, let me get to it. Stop interrupting, guys. Okay, so let's talk about how the first 6 months in the business, you didn't do any sales. What was the change? So you joined a team, but what was the change in your mentality? Or if there was a change in mentality, obviously you started circle prospecting, door knocking, all that. Was there anything else that you switched either in your actions or your mental state that led you then to do 28 your first year?
Yeah.
Well, after the first 6 months.
Right. Yeah. So the big thing was I didn't feel like the things that like I didn't fully trust my ability to get everything, all my I's dotted and my T's crossed. When I had the admin support on the back end, it was just like, oh, this is easy. If I just go and I run after this thing and I help this seller or buyer and I tackle it, then on the back end, I've got people that'll make sure that I'm going to get the things done that I need to do for compliance. And then it was just like, okay, my only job is to make phone calls and find people that want to buy and sell, and then hand that off and let the team handle it. And I'm on to the next one. And then I service that client as needed through inspections and stuff like that. So it was just taking the leverage to almost an extreme. I really feel bad for Caitlin and Yalen because I would like go and my paperwork would be a mess. I would get people to sign a listing agreement, and then I have to go back to them like 3 times because I'm like, dude, I screwed this up. I'm sorry, bro, but I know I can get the house sold. I just am terrible at paperwork. So, but they gave me the confidence that they were going to make sure that I got everything done that I needed to do on the back end and provide support. And also, I was also nervous that I was going to say something I shouldn't. So I had them listen to my phone calls to make sure I was not being too aggressive in my sales approach.
So when you say admin, do you mean TCs or anything else?
All like listing coordination and transaction coordination. Yeah. So I signed a listing, helped me schedule the photos, helped me schedule all that.
Okay, gotcha. And so that was your first year, 0, 28, first half, second half. And then, so what, and you learned the confidence, you're not going to go to jail. You had the admin support. So now you have those reps in you. What does the next piece look like?
So the next piece was after I bought that first deal, I kept selling and I bought some other properties that that's when I really got excited about being able to have the money to invest. So that was kind of the next step after that first year was bought the house, then started doubling down on trying to buy houses for flips and buy some rentals. And I bought some stuff that was in not great neighborhoods that I learned. Yeah, I learned real quick, but the market really helped me out and I was able to sell those and make a good profit to be able to buy what I have now. So I did that. And then I started really focusing on what we're going to talk about further of every house, every seller that I'm talking to, I am going in there first to buy that property. And if not, I'm going to help them figure out a solution to sell it. And that's how I got there. I heard a story from Gary Keller that he tells about a condo purchase that he was talking with an agent. I can't remember what city it was, but the agent was like, "Hey man, this is a good deal." And he said, "Well, I've got all this other stuff going on. I don't want to take on this purchase." And he passed up on it. And the person that ended up buying that condo, sold it 30 days later and made $200,000. He tells that story. And I have a similar story to that of I had opportunity to buy a property at $50,000, decided to take the listing and it sold for 86, just like it was. So I really learned through that I needed to be focusing as an investor first, but then also providing them multiple options because I am licensed that I can help them sell it however best suits their needs.
And you're getting to talk to these people through how, like, who are you calling? Where are those names coming from? Yeah, that piece.
Yes. So multiple different sources. But the main thing was I would either pick a certain neighborhood that I really would like to own property in, or that I knew that would be easy to do flips in. For example, that first house hack that I bought that direct to seller. I picked a neighborhood. It's in High Point. Well, it's technically Jamestown address, and I knew this neighborhood was seeing an extreme amount of appreciation, but I knew that the homes were built in 99. So they were right at the point where people were going to have to start replacing big items, roof, HVAC, stuff like that at that time. So that was like 2019. So I knew that some of that stuff. So I was like, oh, this is the perfect neighborhood. These people that can't afford to fix these up, they're going to want to be able to sell, but I can help them because of the way the market is. And so I found a seller by pulling the list through Mojo. They have a neighborhood search criteria, and called that neighborhood, I don't even know how many times, so many times. I talked to probably hundreds of people in that particular neighborhood before I found that deal. And so that's one way, was the circle prospecting specifically. The other thing that I really love using now is the Mojo door knocking app. It's similar to Deal Machine, if any of y'all are familiar with that, where you can basically just tap on the property as you're driving through and you see, oh, this one's got tall grass, it's got a tarp on the roof, the HVAC looks old. Boom, I can sit there and actually call that person while I'm sitting in their driveway right from there. And so that's a great way to do it as well. But also for sell by owners, I've gotten lots of good deals from for sale by owners, taken probably a dozen or more for sale by owner listings. And then I've wholesaled a lot of for sale by owners as well. Those work great for there. So for sale by owners, circle prospecting, driving for dollars is how I found most of those deals.
Nice. Going back to the Mojo, what do you pay for Mojo? How many calls do you make? Do you know any of your like conversion numbers? And eventually I'd like to go into my favorite, which is a role play, because I'd love to see how you talk to these people,
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So first, price of Mojo.
Mojo is like $150, and actually Landon pays for that. So through our team. So Landon pays that for. I think it's 150. I highly recommend using the triple line dialer. That's a must, especially if you're going to be just blowing through list all day.
Can you describe that for people that don't know what that means?
Okay. Yes. So the way the dialer works is it can either dial one person at a time and you sit there and it rings and then you can leave a voicemail, or you can have a setting where it calls 3 people at a time and it only opens up if they pick up the phone or it goes to voicemail. So it saves you a ton of time because you're making 3 calls at one time. And as soon as somebody picks up, the other 2 drop off. And what's cool too, on the ones that drop off, I have like a call recording setting where if they do pick up right at the same time, it'll like hello, and it'll hang up, and then after I hang up with the next person, it'll give me the ability to call back and say, hey, I think something was going on, we got disconnected, I saw that you picked up, and then go boom right in the script.
Love
so
that.
That's what that.
Next question was how many calls? We interviewed Landon. He was talking about like 100 calls a day or something. Maybe was it higher?
For newbies. It was 1,000.
1,000 for newbies.
For their first day.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're doing?
So not 1,000 dials a day. That takes from 8 a.m. in the morning till about 6 p.m. at night. Typically, like right now, I'm making a lot less calls because I'm shifting. But at that time, I was making roughly 250 dials. Let me make sure I get that right. Yeah. And I would talk to, it was like 10% of who I would talk to. So I would talk to probably 20, 25 people in a day. And out of those 20, I would usually get 1 to 2 people that were like fairly warm. So that's about the conversions on that. And out of those 2 warm leads, I would be getting 10 of those a weekish. And then usually 1 to 2 appointments out of those. Just the circle prospecting. For sell by owners are obviously a lot higher conversion because they already want to sell. So it's not like you're, but for the strictly cold calls, direct to seller that's
okay, sweet. I want to do 2 role plays then. One for like the circle prospecting and one for the for sale by owner.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. Which one do you want to do first?
Let's do circle prospecting.
All right. So there's multiple different ways I call for circle prospecting. Sometimes it's a house just sold in the neighborhood, or I do the drive. I'm driving through there. Let's just do a house around the corner just sold. We'll do that one.
Cool.
All right. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, I was calling for Allie.
Yeah, that's me. Who's calling?
Yeah, Allie, my name is Drew. I'm with Burrow Realty Group. I noticed you own a property at 123 Main Street. A house right around the corner from you just sold. I just wanted to reach out and see if you've ever considered selling your home.
Yeah, I get these calls like twice a day, every day. No, I don't.
Yeah, no worries. I totally understand that. I get the same calls. I own a couple properties around the corner and it's a nightmare. Totally understand. Are you curious at what that property sold for and what the details are?
Oh, the property around the corner? Yeah, sure. Yeah, what did it sell for?
Yeah, it was a 3-2. It was about 1,500 square feet, and it sold for 300,000. If you could get that for your property, would that make sense for you?
I haven't thought about selling. I'm buy and hold, long-term play. I don't feel like selling at the moment.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. So you've got rentals in the area?
I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. If I were to find one that met your criteria in this neighborhood, would you move forward with purchasing it?
Potentially. I mean, I try to purchase mine under market value. I don't want to be paying market price.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell me about your buy box and what you're looking for, and if it meets that and I can bring that to you, I would expect to see an offer from you. So tell me what you're looking for.
Dude, he's good.
Yeah. He even clicked the pen too. He's like taking notes on what my actual buy box is. He was like,
oh my God.
Muscle memory.
You want to make them hear that so that you know that you care.
Dude, are you curious with the property? Yeah, I love are you curious what the property around this corner sold for? Because like instinctually I want to tell you no, but also I'm curious. Like tell me, you know what I mean? Like you got me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you immediately flipped it from me trying to sell to me buying, since you know that I'm an investor too. So that's brilliant. Ugh. So then once I tell you my criteria, then how does it go?
So yeah, you're looking for a 3-2, you needed to cash flow $200. So then it's just, well, great. Is this your cell phone number? Always ask that first, because then they're more likely to give you their email. So great. Is this your cell phone number that I called you on? Awesome. What's your best email address? Perfect. I'm going to set you up on a market report, or excuse me, a search that we have, but I'm also going to send you my wholesale deals that are off market. If you are interested and you're very serious about making offers consecutively, then I go for an appointment. So like, hey, I want you to come into the office and we're going to sit, look at your portfolio. How does what's your management look like? All that stuff.
Nice.
So
at what point do they ask you? Because in the beginning of that phone call, it sounds like you're an investor, you're trying to buy my property. I don't want to sell it below market, and now all of a sudden, like you have access to the MLS. And so at what point do people typically ask you are you an agent? Are you an investor? And do you say yes and yes?
Yo, real quick, this podcast is not free. Cost of admission is sharing with a buddy who'd benefit or throwing it on your Instagram story. Tag us. We'll reshare that.
I don't really get that a lot. I mean, most people just assume that you're an agent here in this market because they're already getting 15 calls a day.
Okay.
So it's just blowing through that and figuring out if there's any way that they can be a buyer or seller. Because immediately you're like, no, I'm not selling. And so like, okay, great. Well, I offer a lot more than just listing your house. So let's keep talking.
Nice.
Dude, you're good. Yeah. Do we get to hear the other one? The for sale by owner?
Yeah, we can do a FSBO. Give me some, like, what's the house? Is it a distressed property or a nice one?
Shelby, you want to take it?
Sure. What do you prefer?
I prefer the distressed, of course.
Okay. Well, it's distressed then.
Let's do it. Cool. All right. Ring.
Hello?
Hey, I was calling about the house that was listed for sale by owner at 123 Main Street. Is this the owner?
This is.
Oh, awesome. Glad I got you. My name is Drew with Burrow Realty Group. I was reaching out. I'm actually interested in purchasing that home. I was curious if you could tell me more about it. It looked like it needed quite a bit of work.
Sure. It needs a new roof for sure. And the last tenants that were in there totally trashed the carpet. So that, and other than that, it's okay.
Yeah. Got you. So you had a rough tenant issue. Tell me about that.
Yeah. It's just that they had dogs and they didn't tell me they had dogs. And then they were late on payment and actually I had to evict and it's terrible.
That sounds awful. What's your plan?
Yeah.
What made you? This is a great neighborhood. What made you want to list it for sale as opposed to just fixing it back up and renting it back out?
I don't have the money to put I don't want to put the money into this property. I'm tired of being a landlord.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through that again.
No, I totally understand that. Well, hey, I actually have multiple options that may be helpful for you. One, I can help you renovate that property and get it listed, or I can give you a direct offer. What I'd love to do is come by tomorrow at like 2:00 if you're available, or and I also have 4:30. Which one would be best?
I like that. 4:30 is best. Thank you.
4:30. Yeah, and then I just go and okay, great. Are you committed to meeting me at 4:30?
I liked that so much better because in my head, I was like, bracing to be like, I don't need a real estate agent. I can sell this on I like literally had it prepared to tell you to like off because I didn't need an agent, but like you didn't go that way at all. And
yeah, that's why the being able to meet, like, look, I'm going to give you an offer tomorrow. You might not like it, but I can also give you what this property needs in work. And then I'll front the renovation and help you list it if it's less than 30 grand. So,
dude, I love that. Is that a Drew program or is that like a Borough Realty Group program? What is that?
That is a Borough Realty Group program. Yeah. I mean, there's several other agents that I know that do that, but yeah, it's a great opportunity for the seller because you're basically helping them flip their own house. You're making more commission and I'm making money off of my money that's being used for renovations.
And you're creating a raving fan because it's like, dude, I didn't have the money to fix this up and they literally fronted the money for me. And now I can sell it at the top of the market and make more. What?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk more about that. How much typically are you guys fronting? Is there a limit?
It just depends. We prefer, we're not, like 30 grand. We're not going to do one that's foundation work and the roof's falling in because that's just so much risk. If it's like most of these properties, like I like to call neighborhoods that are newer. I mean, I buy stuff that's older. That's not what I'm saying. But if I'm looking at for flips specifically, then the neighborhoods that are built like in the 90s and newer, most of the time, all they need is a roof. They need carpet, paint, and some countertops and paint the cabinets. So we're doing that quick. And I'm willing to front the cost because I know those numbers in the neighborhood where they're just cookie cutter. And it's like, I know that this house is going to sell for $250. I would put all my chips in on it. I'm willing to do it. If it's like a huge renovation, that's totally different for that program.
And then what kind of clause do you have in the contract that saves your butt in case the seller decides not to sell or for some reason they can't sell?
Yeah. So if they decide not to sell, well, that's a great point that you brought up about if it doesn't sell. So if it doesn't sell, it's still in there that they're required to pay at least the cost of the renovations. And so that they're aware of that up front, that if it doesn't, but they have to list at the price that we tell them to list at. Because if they're like, oh, you did this repair, I think my house is now worth $285. And if you don't list it at $285, I'm not accepting an offer for $250. That's not going to fly. Shelby's over here pulling her hair out.
Dude, no, I'm chill, man. You know me. Like it's chill.
Yeah, so we have protections in place, but there's also mechanics lien filed on the property just to, if everything goes south, we at least are going to get the money for the renovations back.
Yeah. So worst case scenario,
Landon's a GC.
That's right. Yeah. So worst case scenario, it's an interest-free loan to them, right? Because you wouldn't be charging them any interest if they can't sell.
Right. Yeah. Other than like a markup. Yeah. On the management. Yeah.
Yeah. And you probably also don't offer this if the people are like your spidey senses are going off. You're like they're batshit crazy. Yeah. Then you provoke.
Yeah. I have to trust them, and it's usually but the big thing I like to use that just as during the consultation, like here's an option because I'm being extremely transparent with them. Of, hey, when I fix this up, if I do it, it's going to sell for this amount of money, but you can do the same thing if you want to list, fix it up and I'll help you list it. So it also gives me the ability for them to trust me because I'm, all right, here's what I can sell it on the market as is right now. Here's what I can sell it for if you let me do a little bit of repairs and list it. And here's your net, but here's my cash offer and we can close in 14 days. Which one do you want? Because then it gives them, oh, I've got 3 decisions to make, or I got 3 choices. And
totally. Okay. I love your confidence when you're like, I would go all in on it. Like, I know this neighborhood. And for those of people who are out there, maybe don't have that confidence. Can you share what led you to be so confident?
Go look at a lot of houses. When I was with KW, shout out to Tom. He was the PC coach there. And he was like, look, you need to be viewing like 5 homes a day. Like on your ride home, just do agent previews and then see what that property is selling for. Because you got to know, like, especially if your goal is to be an investor, you got to know what that house is going to sell for. And not only that, but what it's going to appraise for too. Like the porches add value, all that stuff. So going and looking at a lot of homes. Now, most of the homes here, you got these brick ranches in Greensboro. They're all exactly the same. Like, I don't even really need to go look at that property to know what it's going to sell for, especially in High Point too, because they're very similar construction if they're built in the 50s and the 60s and all that. So just viewing homes, getting in as many doors as you can to look at them.
Reps.
That's there's no secret sauce. Yeah.
Totally. Just reps over time, man. I love it.
So aside from
Cool.
Mojo, cool. what other tips or tools do you use in your business that helps you get to where you are?
One of the things that I'm still working on is utilizing our CRMs to follow up, because you're going to talk to a ton of people when you circle prospect. And I'm still closing deals. Like, I've done a lot less because I've been focusing more on investing, but I'm still closing deals from all those calls I was making in my first 6 months multiple years ago. So just putting them on, like, utilizing that CRM to put them on market reports, call them quarterly, check in, write down their dog's name. People love that. Like, just so when you call them back, it's like, oh, hey, you told me you had a new grandbaby. How's that going? And then they're just going to start talking. And then it's like, oh, great. Do you know anybody that wants to buy or sell a house right now? And then that's it.
Slide in there. Nice. So what CRM do you guys use?
We use Brivity, and Brivity's been great. We had Follow Up Boss for a while. I really like Brivity because it's got a lot more. It's got a lot more to offer when it comes to market reports, setting people up on listing alerts, and then being able to track when they go in to view their market reports or their listing alerts. And so you can call and be like, hey, I saw you were looking at these houses in the 300 price range when you're looking to purchase. It just gives you all these extra tools, but utilizing that, and then also having the follow-up task to make sure you call them, which I can be bad at. So that's why I'm saying that. I'm speaking to myself. Yeah. So this is on the record that I need to stay on top of those, because there's gold in the database.
I have another question that's not on this. Allie, do you have anything on Brivity before I kind of go off for a second?
I find it interesting that you guys went from Follow Up Boss, which I feel like everyone has. It's like the best CRM people claim. I've never used it, but I've heard such good things. But I didn't realize that Brivity is better with market reports. That's super good to know. Not that I use either.
And it's very possible that Follow Up Boss has stepped it up since we left from there. But it also, Brivity incorporates with Place, which that's a story for another day. But so.
Okay, question. Yeah. So to loop back to, you were talking to me on the phone. I'm the for sale by owner, and we set an appointment for tomorrow at 4:30. What does your prep look like, and what do you bring with you to the appointment?
That is a great question. So the prep is, I'm going to send them ahead of time. I'm going to send them in. So through Brivity, we can actually do a CMA, a market analysis, and it has like pictures, and they can scroll through it on their phone. And like, it's much better than just sending like the quick CMA that you get from the MLS, because then they're just looking at these numbers and they're like, I don't know what this means. So then they can see the photos, because I want them to give me an idea where they're going to be at on price first. But then I also, tomorrow at so we're meeting at 4:30, at like 1:00, I'm going to call you, and I'm going to have a little bit of a pre-qual script of just like making sure I'm not wasting my time. So I'm sending you that CMA as soon as we get off the phone. And then another, we have like a handout packet of our team and all that stuff. So I send that, and then I call them and I ask them, are all the decision makers going to be there? If we agree on a price, are you ready to sign today? Blah, blah. Just making sure that they're ready to roll. If I show up there and we come to terms, that they're ready to get their pin out.
What if they say no?
What if they say no? Then I say, well, great. We may need to reschedule for when you're more ready. And then they usually are like, well, I mean, okay, let's just meet, because if it does make sense, I will do it. And then it's like, great. I don't have to worry about that objection when I get there.
Did you tell them about the call at 1 p.m. the following day? Did you tell them about the CMA? Like, how did you set expectations?
Yes. So I always like to give people promises. Like, all right, I promise that I'm going to call you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Are you going to be available for that? And then I say, I'm going to send you an email that I need you to look at, and I'm going to ask you about it when I call you tomorrow at 1 p.m. And if you haven't looked at it, we're going to postpone our appointment. And they're
laying
like,
down
okay.
the law.
And then I'm well, I mean,
it's good.
It also shows them that you're taking it serious, because a lot of these agents, they're like, well, and I used to do it when I first got started and I got a for sale by owner appointment. I was just so excited that I got an appointment with them that I would just be like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow at 4:30. I'll call you at like 2 o'clock just to make sure that you're still good to go, and I'll see you there. And there was no like, are you committed to that time? Is your wife going to be there? Are all the decision makers going to be there? You know, all that stuff. So
Totally.
It took a while. I screwed it up so many times. Like, I went on so many appointments with, specifically in the circle prospecting realm, because people will want you to just come to their house to tell them how much their house is worth.
Yeah.
And if you don't like solidify that they actually need to sell, because my first ever appointment, so they still haven't even sold their house yet. So, and it's been 4 years. Yeah, 3 and some change. So
you'll get them one day.
That's just how it
sure.
is. They'll sell eventually, or their kids will.
I'm also curious. So, like the scripts that you use on the phone and the pre-call script, I'm sure you know them by heart by now, but do you also have them written down? Because I feel like that would be a really good thing for the gold mine as well.
Yeah, I can put that in there. Yeah, we have all those for our like new agent scripts and stuff. Yeah, no, I can do that.
And then one more question, real quick, is when you're on the phone and you're taking notes because you're clicking your pen, you're doing it all. Do you take that information and you plug it into your calendar, or how are you personally remembering, the call at 1 p.m. and et cetera? What does that look like?
So originally I was doing that all with Google Calendar. Now Brivity has an interactive appointment setting on it. So when I set an appointment, I can set all those details. I can set task all right there. And then it gives me like an alert about it. And it texts me like, hey, you have this appointment coming. You can set up auto plans too in there. So like new appointment auto plan of these are the next steps and plug it in. So that's how I keep up with that. And it also emails them all the details of like the time and everything. Similar to how y'all sent me the stuff for this same thing, just a Google invite calendar.
Nice. So thank you for being so generous to drop the script there as the golden nugget, as one of the golden nuggets, because this episode is going to have 2, which is awesome. So one of the golden nuggets is going to be the script. Let's talk more about the other golden nugget that everyone again can watch at and get access to for free at theagentgoldmine.com.
Yeah. So one thing I've been implementing a lot is
Real quick, if you're listening to this on Apple does not make it easy to leave us a rating. So I'm going to break this down for you. In the search tab, type in the Be More Show for Agents. Click on the thumbnail. Then click that middle tab that says Reviews and click Write a Review. Tap on those 5 stars, of course. Let us know how awesome this show is and how it's helped you. And if that's too much for you, I understand, and just switch to Spotify already. Thank you so much, and back to the show.
One thing I've been implementing a lot is the Mojo Door Knocker app. So it's technically designed for if you're going door knocking as an agent, that you can mark like this lead was not home so that you don't double knock and all that stuff. I've been kind of tweaking it a little bit I've gotten a little bit lazy with driving for dollars. So give you an example, Allison and I are going to probably be moving to Pinehurst, and we've been trying to find a home, and it's just not my blood to buy something on the MLS. But so what we've been doing is we'll just literally drive for dollars on the Google Street View and go through there and be like, oh, that house, they've not kept the landscaping up, or it looks like it needs work. And then we can mark it from right there in that door knocker app. But we can also do that while we're driving there in person. What that does is it gives you their number. It skip traces it right there on the spot, gives you phone number, email address, mailing address, all that information.
That's
So it's like Deal
awesome.
Machine, but cheaper if you're going to it's cheaper if you're going to be doing the Mojo Dialer as well.
How much is
Dude.
it? Did you mention?
It's an add-on. I think it's $40 a month extra. But
Nice.
To the
quote
150.
me on that exact. To
Right,
the
it
150. Yeah, so you'd be like,
I gotcha.
yeah. But if you're doing cold calling, that's Mojo's the way to go. We used Vulcan 7 for a while and all that stuff, but Mojo's good. The dialer's the best.
Love it.
What's the biggest piece of advice? Oh, sorry, Shelby, really quick. What's the biggest piece of advice you would give to people that are scared of cold calling, but you know that obviously you're making a ton of money, like a lot of deals. How can people get over the fear of cold calling?
It doesn't really go away, but just don't be. Can I say that? Can I say that?
Say whatever you want, Drew.
It's your show, Drew.
Yeah.
Just don't. And but I mean, no. Think about it. One of the things my dad has like instilled with me, and he would say, and he'd love that I'm talking about him on here. Actually, he would say, look, this is when I was starting to talk to women. He would say, look, you're going to your house tonight alone, whether one way or the other. So you might as well ask. So go and just talk to them. And on the phone, if they say no, it's like, okay, great. Have a good day. If you ever want to ever do anything, call me back. Like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're going to cuss at you. They're going to tell you that you look, you're the scum of the earth, which they will do. They'll call you all sorts of colorful names. They'll yell slurs at you, especially when you're door knocking and they see you and you're like 19 years old. And yeah.
Okay, question. So at this point, we have your history, and looking ahead, what is the next piece of either the agent puzzle? I know you're doing a lot of like investor agent stuff alongside each other. So like, what's next looking ahead?
Yeah, so I'm going to keep doing residential listings, as they come in, as I'm making connections for properties to purchase, whether that's flip or buy and hold. And I'm also been doing some land listings. Shelby and I have been talking about that. That's been going pretty good. I'm excited for that. That's a lot of fun. It's more up my alley of selling farms and hunting land and being able to ride 4-wheelers as showings, and it's awesome. So, and I just think having access to people that have land and making friends with them is a very valuable asset. You never know what's going to happen. So having access to land with food and water is always going to be a good thing to do.
Nice. And then
Had
fast
to
forwarding.
Had to add that in there on having access to food and water. But anyways.
Fast forwarding even more, what does the end state look like for you? Or just like 10 years down the road? What's your overall goal?
10 years, man. I can't even imagine 10 years from now. I've been trying to think of in like 90-day terms, or like by the end of the year, I want X. But my goal by the end of this year is to have $1 million in assets, not necessarily equity, just total. I'm at like 500 and some change right now. So I would like to do that. I'm continuing to grow the property I'm rolling into property management to do that just as an addition to the business. So that way we have the whole piece from they want to buy property or list property, that we can help them renovate it with Landon and his team that he's got going on, all that stuff he's implementing, and then we can manage it on the back end too. So that's the next piece, is growing that and continuously buying assets, and that cash flow a lot.
Love it. Totally. Okay. This is one of our favorite questions. I'm super curious for you though. Who do you fangirl?
Fangirl.
Yeah.
It's always continuously changing, because obviously if you'd asked me this 2 years ago, it would have been Brandon Turner. That would have been like, if I ever saw him in person, I would like probably shit my pants. And then honestly, our whole team, like, it's funny you say that, because the answer would have been you, Shelby, like in 20, because I mean, I remember listening to all the BiggerPockets podcasts and being like, oh my God, I can do that. Like there's like, so, but right now I would say, I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of Ryan Pineda, just on his ability to create systems, and I'm a big fan of him. I mean,
it's a good answer.
There's so many. Yeah, that's my final answer. Right.
Okay.
Nice.
We accept.
What would you say is one of your biggest life hacks or business hacks?
Life hacks or business
Or it could be a
hacks?
simple one too. Your favorite life hack. Your favorite hack.
We love a hack.
We love hacks.
He's like a house hack, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, well, that's a great point, because I would not be anywhere close to where I'm at if it were not for house hacking. Just being able to live for free is huge, and then being able to move out on the back end is major. I think utilizing, one of the things Shelby taught me was the brain dump onto like a Google Doc. That for me has been, because my memory is like, I can talk to somebody and then I'll see them 30 minutes later and I'll be like, I don't even like, and until I can register it. Like, so writing it down, then that way, like typing it out and like just brain dumping it on there and then worrying about filing it at the end of the day or later, that's been huge. And I've been implementing that. So I would say that's a hack that's been huge. Is just put everything out there so it's in writing and then worry about making it pretty later.
We love that, and still do that. Okay, Drew, what events are you going to this year?
I'm going to probably be going to Built How, which is an event put on by Ben Kinney and Chris Suarez. They're the owners and founders of Place. I went to the most recent. Well, actually, I didn't go to the one most recent, but the one in the last fall in Phoenix. It was huge. And then, I'm going to 5 Pillars thing because it's finally within a reasonable distance.
Driving distance for you. Pillars were free. Yeah.
Boop, boop.
Dude, I'm stoked. You don't know it yet, but you're in a room with bunk beds, and that you're in like the boys' crew room. The minute you told me Allison wasn't coming, I was like, oh, no king bed for Drew.
Well, if she does come, she can just I'll sleep outside.
Okay. We'll work it out.
How can we help you in your business?
Yeah, I mean, right now, we've got folks that are looking to grow their portfolio here in Greensboro. I'm going to be moving down to the Pines, close to Southern Pines, Pinehurst, Whispering Pines, that area. So anybody that needs some help with management and I'm looking to, I'm more multifamily. It's like small multifamily seems to be the kind of niche that I've fallen into that I like, because I can kind of hack that a little bit of doing either short-term or mid-term rentals in a duplex, and then it just cash flows like insane. So anybody that wants help with that, send them my way, and then I can help them with that. But also any multifamily builders, like I said before, I'm closing on land Wednesday and finding builders that are doing multifamily. So anybody you got for that would be
nice.
Huge.
Perfect. And where can those people find you?
My Instagram, I'm about to start doing a lot more posting. I was doing good there for a while, and then of other things. Personal stuff going on, and just totally fell. You can reach me through that. It's just Drew Mathison or simple.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Awesome. And then we'll put your email in the show notes as well. And if you want to hang with us, we are Allie the Agent on Instagram, as well as The Shelby Show. So hit us up there. We answer all messages. And that's it for today. So you know what to do.
Be a bro and share the show.
Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm.
Thanks for listening, dude. If you want the golden nugget that this guest provided, see the show notes or just go straight to theagentgoldmine.com. That's where we keep the resources for you. Till next time.